Hey folks, and welcome to the Pipnotic Symposium for the 12th of June 2020. Today is kind of the deep dive day, so we're going to talk about some supply and demand and some buy and sell zone theory, maybe even touch on some currency strength if we have time. I just want to walk through a trade that I'm currently in. The trade is this one here. This is the British pound, Swiss franc, and I saw this very nice area of supply. And this is supply because when we left this area here, we managed to move through quite a few areas of quite a few buy zones and through demand below price. So this one is gone. This one was tested here. It's now gone. We had this one here, which is also removed. And so this tells me that we have a lot of strength moving away from this price point. Price poked up into that area, and then we left. And currently we're up at about maybe a 1.5 to 1 reward risk. Let's see here, 250, and we're down, yeah, about 1.5 to 1 reward risk. Okay, now we're approaching this little area here, but we want to focus on the entry currently because this is essentially where we got in. If you look at this, you notice, just looking at this, I'm just going to zoom in. I mean, where is the sell zone? What is it that leaps out when you look at this chart? It's this one here. This is the sell zone, and this is a sell zone because we had this area of supply, and so you want to know, well, how deeply into that area did price move before it left historically. And we didn't move even into the edge of the area, we moved just below it, so this defines the beginning of the sell zone. Price moved up into that sell zone, and then we left. Okay, and so this is a pretty clear indication of that. If we focus on this area on a different chart with no supply and demand software, you can see also that we have these candles that are pointing to the beginning of the sell zone, where we have sideways price movement. We have agreement in price for 1, 2, 3, 4 periods, 5 periods. This is also, it looks like it's related to these, and then we started to see price move away. But when price moved away, we pulled back into it. So we had price moving, down into the area. We had it moving sideways for 4 periods, and then we moved away, we moved back to it, we moved away, we moved it back to it, and then we left. Okay, actually this one did not go that far. It only went here, went down, we went back to it, and then we left. Okay, and so the deepest pullback into this area of supply is the deepest retracement since the area of supply was established, and that is right here. This right here, the highs of these two candles is where it is, which is where my entry is. Price almost got there, but if we were patient and we waited for the entry, price got very close, minus maybe 10 pips or whatever, 20 pips, and then this time price poked through it. We got through, we maybe moved through it maybe 10, 20 pips or so, and this is where we managed to move down and away. And so the next question is, well, where can we expect price to stop? And this is essentially where we are going to be looking to get out of the trade. Okay, if you look at this little price structure down here, this is pretty messy on this time frame, so we're probably going to have to go to a smaller time frame to find a clear exit point. So we'll go to the 4-hour chart. We're going to have a look at all of these, and if you look at this, this is not demand, this is a reaction to demand, and you can see the demand here. Okay, so price is not quite there, a little bit lower there. Price came back to it, pointing to the edge of the buy zone, which is just here, just there. Price went into it, we formed the child, we tested the child, we moved higher, we kind of moved in to the buy zone for this child, which is here, tested it once, twice, 3 times, and then we left. So currently we're moving down towards this buy zone for this child. I don't like to trade children areas of demand or supply, and so I'm not too fussed about this just here. Okay, price is pretty close to this, but price has already traded at this price level historically many times before. We've traded here, we've been down here and here, price went deeper, and we traded also at this price point here. And so I'm expecting price at a minimum to go, sorry, not even there, to go to the low of this one here. Okay, and below that we have a couple of areas, and here we had some supply that was tested a couple of times, once, twice, and this area removed it. Okay, it was tested here, and so the beginning of the buy zone is the low of this one here. And so yes, I mean, I'm expecting price to move down to at least this area or lower. I like this one here because this is just showing us a lot of strength, and this whole structure here originated from the low of this push just here, how price went up. The slingshot was pulled back, and you have a big wick there which shows us that, and then we moved up sideways a bit, and then we moved up sideways, and then we left. Okay, and essentially managed to move up to those highs here. And so we have a buy zone here which is marked, which could be an interesting place to maybe get a little bit off the table. Then we have another one just down here, but we also have this here which price might have a tough time moving through. But looking at this, price has already traded at this area here many times before, so I'm expecting price to move first down to here, have a bounce, probably move through this pretty easily, maybe down to the lows of these wicks here, and then ultimately down here, and if everything goes really well, all the way down to this area here. Okay, but we don't know. We have no idea what's going to happen. This is what the chart is telling me, and so this is what I'm going to try and do with this trade. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. I want this to move sideways for a bit. That's fine. And what I'm hoping is happening is that we're distributing. So we're building up, we're distributing liquidity to move price lower. So the broker is buying from us, we are selling. So the sell side is buying, and they buy on the sell side to drive price lower. And so I'm just thinking that price is going to move down a little bit further. We'll probably need to advertise slightly better prices. Maybe move up to this area here, which is an interesting area. This area of supply, remove this area of demand. So we could move up to this area just here and move away from here before we move lower. But I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I like that price has already been in this area a lot. I mean, when price does this, it means that if you're familiar with my metaphor where I talk a lot about pancakes, you have a bunch of people sitting around a table, and in the middle of the table there's a plate of pancakes. If the first person wants a pancake, what they have to do is they have to take their fork, they have to put it into the top of the stack of pancakes. Okay, so their fork gets the top one, but after that pancake is gone, the next person has to move their fork deeper. Okay, and once that one's gone, the next person has to move deeper, and so on and so forth until the plate of pancakes is empty. When that happens, then you want to look for a new plate, and this plate is going to be lower. Okay, and we have something here and we have something down here. So we'll have to keep an eye on this, and so what happens, I may take a little bit of this trade off. Okay, fund the stop for the remaining half of the trade and then just let it play out and see what happens. But I'm not a huge fan of scaling out because this waters down the effect of winning trades. Ideally you want to leave them in, then they either hit your stop or they hit your target depending on what happens. And the good thing about doing that is that if you have a bunch of trades and you're scaling out, you're watering down, as I mentioned, the effect of the winners, and so you'll have to win more in order to maintain a positive gain on your accounts. Okay, because when you don't scale out of losing trades, if price moves against you, you really kind of take a little bit out. I'm going to scale out of this trade because it's losing. You rarely do that. You often let it hit your stop, and so you want to prevent yourself from scaling out of trades too early until there's substantial gains in the position. And that's what we have there. We do have this one here, but when price left this area of demand, we managed to move above here, but we did not manage to move through this area of supply. So that tells me that this one's probably going to disappear sooner or later. I have a couple other trades. I accidentally clicked myself out of one of the trades, this one here, but we got in here The stop was here, and now we got down to this area here, and I'm pretty confident that price is going to continue to move through all of this mess, because this is just a bunch of levels testing levels, so there's nothing massive in here. Price got down to here, and I was going to take a little bit of the position off to pay for the stop of this trade, but I ended up closing the position out like an amateur. That happens. But we got in here essentially, just here, and then price managed to move away. So we got like a 121. Yeah, we almost got a 2-to-1 on that trade, but I got out of that one. I won't be able to see what happens there, but I like this because we had this area here, we had this area here, so we had like we have a lot of children here. Okay, here we have an area tested. I mean, all these are testing each other, so there are, I mean, the plate of pancakes is lower, so I'm expecting that this is going to disappear just here. So I think price will eventually gnaw on this. It may very well come back up to here, and move away from this price point here, which will be interesting, because once price manages to move away from here and through this, then you can start to move your stop to break even, because we have this area of supply and this sell zone to protect our position. But I do have a couple of other positions open. Let's have a quick look at those. We've got this one here. This is the Australian dollar Swiss franc, where we got in here. This is not a beautiful trade because I don't like this. This is very messy. But the currency strength histogram qualified this area here, and it worked out. They don't always work out, obviously, but it pulled me in. It didn't pull me in at a level that I'm comfortable with. What I do like, if I look at this with discretion, I like this one here better. I don't like this one here. Why? Because price has already been around this area here, so this is a lower probability trade for this here. But I like this one up here, which is a little bit better. Price moved away. The slingshot was pulled back to this level here, and then we left. Okay, so not a terribly interesting trade. Then we have this one here, which is the, what is this? The pound Swiss franc. Yeah, this is one we just looked at, and the other one closed out prematurely. And then we have this one here, which I was just pulled into. And this is interesting because we had demand. This is demand because we had this supply here tested a few times. It removed it. Price pulled back. The slingshot came back to here. We went up. So we have a buy zone here for this area of demand. Tested. Price sat on it, and we cut away. When price left here, we removed this area of supply. Okay, and so now we are kind of feeding into that area of supply. I don't know what's going to happen with this one. We'll have to wait and see. It's getting close to the weekend, so I don't know. I'll see what happens later on today. But we might get a small reaction at this price point here based on the analysis. But I think it's important to remember that when you're looking at the price chart, essentially all you need to do is you need to find places where price is reacting, so price is bouncing off support and resistance. These are buy and sell zones, so you have to focus on these areas that price repeatedly returns to and rejects. Okay, support and resistance is actually price reacting to supply or demand, and so you look at prices where price tests numerous times and you identify the areas that removes it. And if we have a look at this one here, this is just an example that kind of jumped out at me. You can see here that we had price testing these areas here. Test, and then this one traded through it. You can see this is the one that was strong enough to remove this or violate this support for price. So then you have to mark off that area. Okay, we go to the small time frames. We'll do the 4 hour and see if there's anything there, and then the 1 hour if not. So we'll go back. There's nothing there on the 1 hour, then maybe there is. Let's have a look. Yes, you can see it right there. Okay, here. This is where we have it. So we'll remove this one here. This is a continuation pattern. Price left. We had 2 periods of distribution. We had this candle that kind of closed within the range of the entire family of distribution candles, and this one here left. So it's going to draw a rectangle, mark from the high to the high of the candle to the left. This is pointing to the sell zone. Let's see where price went to. Keep on going. Yeah, and this is where price came to, more or less. We went a little bit deeper. Let's see, actually, because there was a parent-child relationship in that area. Let's go back and have a close look and see if we got to it. Okay, here. Okay, so if we move this over here, yeah, I mean, look at this. If we look at this candle, this is of course after the fact, but if you look at this candle and this candle are not related. This candle is not related to this one. So here we have a continuation pattern higher on a small time frame between this candle and this candle. This candle closed below the low of the highest distribution candle. The slingshot was pulled back to here, exactly here. We go all the way to the right. Where did price go to? We went right to it, to the pip. Okay, so it's just fascinating. It just fascinates me. Like kites fascinate small kids. I absolutely love this stuff, and you can see how powerful this stuff is. I mean, we've looked at several examples here, just here in the past 50 minutes, and it's staggering how effective this stuff is. Right, it's Friday. I'm going to keep this one short. I hope this is interesting. If you think so, you have any questions, please leave a question in the YouTube video, or you can drop it in the Pipnotic Discord channel if you're in there. Study this stuff. Go down to the small time frames and watch price bounce in these areas. Note where price turns around and what it turns around on. And yeah, just have fun with this stuff and have a lovely weekend. Thanks for watching.